Hey guys, today I'm going to share with you a really delicious recipe for pineapple upside down cake. Now this is a recipe that's a bit old school. It is something that people used to make a lot in the 50s and 60s. And in fact, I'm excited to say that this is my grandmother's recipe. So my Aunt Nancy, who is the family historian when it comes to recipes from my grandmother, dug this one up for me. When she sent me the recipe, I was excited to see it was in my grandmother's handwriting, and I baked it exactly as instructed. And I'm here to tell you this recipe needed no tweaking. It's perfect just the way it is. Now, if you'd like to be notified when my new videos post, be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and you'll be the first to know. All right, let's get to the cake. Now, this recipe can be made in any 10-inch cake pan, but my Aunt Nancy, when she sent me the recipe, did tell my dad about a pineapple upside down cake tin. I was completely intrigued. I had to go search this thing out, and sure enough, there is such a thing. So I decided to give it a try, and I have to say, I'm quite impressed with the results. But not to worry, you can make this in a regular pan too. No need to get the special tin. So you're just gonna spray your cake pan with some baking spray. And then in the bottom of the pan, you're going to add 4 tablespoons of melted butter and a cup of brown sugar. I know it sounds like a lot of sugar, but this is what is going to create that kind of caramelized top that's so associated with pineapple upside down cake. And you just want to sprinkle that sugar all over the pan and kind of shake your pan back and forth to make sure it's well distributed. And then we're going to add 7 pineapple rings. And I find that the canned is best for this really because it's the perfect size. And then you're just gonna place them around the tin, make sure it all lines up. And then you can set this aside while we make the cake batter. All you're gonna do is take 4 eggs and a cup of sugar and beat that on high. Go for about 5 to 7 minutes, just until you have a lot of volume and it's a nice pale yellow color. Then you're gonna add a teaspoon of vanilla. And then in a separate bowl, you're gonna add 1 cup of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And you can whisk that up. And then just add the dry ingredients to your egg mixture just until it's nice and combined. And that's it, easy peasy, that's all you have to do. So then you can take this cake batter and put it into your cake pan, just right on top of those pineapples. It's gonna go almost right to the top. Give it a shake and just kind of bang out any of the air bubbles. And then we're gonna bake at 350 for anywhere from 30 to 35 minutes, just until that cake is nice and puffed up and golden brown. Now you do want to let this cake cool for at least 15 minutes before you try to reverse it onto a cake stand, just to allow that cake to kind of set up and those pineapples to adhere to the cake. Okay, then watch how easy this is. We're going to take our cake stand and we're going to place it upside down on our cake pan. And then with one fluid motion, you are going to flip. And then you will see when you release that pan, you will have a beautiful pineapple upside down cake. It's such a beautiful cake. I love the design. It rises up so well. And when you cut into it, you will see how moist and delicious it is. So I like to place this cake in a generous shallow bowl because then I'm going to serve it with some coconut ice cream, which I think is a really good complement with the pineapple. And then just to kick the whole thing up a notch, I do like to also add a little drizzle of homemade caramel sauce just on top of the ice cream. I'll leave you that recipe in the description. And then just to make it pretty, you can top with some shredded coconut flakes on top of that. And you will see when you bite into this cake how delicious and moist it is, mixed with that coconut ice cream and sticky caramel. It is just a dessert sensation. I hope you guys give this one a try and let me know what you think. Pineapple upside down cake, it definitely deserves a comeback. All right, you guys, I'll see you back here next week for another quick and easy recipe. Until then, bye.